What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH.
How's it going, everybody?
And we have the final match in the top 16 for the 2023 Season 1 bracket tournament. Survivors versus Fire Nature Rush. These two decks are very much my speed. So I'll get into it. Fire Nature Rush, staple on the channel. You guys saw the profile that CVH and I uploaded the other day. It is as standard gets. For those of you who want to go way back in the channel history, there is a 30-minute profile for Fire Nature Rush that's uploaded in like 240p, maybe 144p,
Oh
and
God.
it's hard to watch. But this deck is that deck. It's just kind of stood the test of time. Rush is rush. Play dudes on turns 1 through 3, and hope you win on 4. Survivors, however, is a newcomer to the channel. Fire, nature, dark. I don't even know what you would consider this deck. I guess maybe it's a mid range, but um, Survivors is just real toolboxy. And again, go check out the profiles. They're always linked down below in the matches, and they will be throughout top 8 as well when we get into that here in a little bit. But yeah, Survivors was an old channel concept that I think we built poorly in the past. It always wanted to be a control deck. It never could quite get there. And we found this 40 card deck. I think it's a brew between Spencer and I, or maybe Gorby and I. I'm getting the members of this team confused. But we basically just put together like, what does this deck look like if it just cycles? Uh, of course, I forget the name of the cards now. Let's go take a
Factory
look.
Shell and Graveworm.
Thank you. I kept wanting to say Fortress Shell because we just got done recording another match, but it's a Factory Shell and Grave Worm Q. What happens if you just cycle those cards and let this deck kind of go? And turns out it can get quite combo-y. So it's just Survivors has always been one of those snowball decks. If you let too many stick around, it becomes a problem for every deck. And yeah, it arguably got a bad matchup here. So we'll see
Yeah,
if
will it
Survivors
will it do its combo-y thing, or will it die on 4 turns? Let's jump into the match and find out.
open. So, yeah, Survivors. The cool thing about Survivors is that the other 20 to 24 cards in this deck can just kind of be tooled to the meta. There's builds that we've seen that I think in the future will want to play. Burst Shot has seen more and more play in the IDC metas and the overseas metas because of how relevant tempo and rush decks are. Um, because this deck just has its hardest matchup against them, and not playing it in this deck is, I think, definitely something I'm I don't know, afraid of, for lack of a better way of saying it. And yeah, Fire Nature Rush off to perhaps the best start.
A blazingly fast start.
Yeah, with just some of the best cards. Minus Ganta there, that's arguably the best 1/2 the deck has, and I'm on 2 mana and I don't have a Blazosaur, so it's all not looking great. And Spencer over here just with the enough stuff. Spencer was like,
Yeah.
no, I tapped anyway. It's like, all right.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah,
things on
that's
board, and I don't know if you mentioned this, but Survivors, your version, a lot of them do, but this version does not play Burst Shot, which is a great sort of Hail Mary card from the shields, but not a whole lot you can really rely on here to fall back on in the
not at
shields.
all. Yeah. Fortunately, I think I have a bronze arm trap here to hopefully try to get there in the next couple of turns, start seeing some removal. But unless he just whiffs and sees his third comet missile, I'm probably in a bad way. Yeah, and even Sniper continues to load his hand with other potential creatures. He gets the blocker removal back, which is odd. I think that's just out of lack of discussion. I was losing, and that
Yeah,
was that was
do you have
the name
blockers
of
at all?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. This is actually that's a fun discussion point too because you're playing a zero blocker deck against the version of Fire Nature Rush that really just packs in all of the blocker hate. The
Yeah.
Rickaboo's screwdriver as a 4 of and the Comet Missile, which again a lot of people aren't really doing. So I mean, even then with all of those dead cards, quote unquote, I mean, hey, you can still turn a bunch of stuff sideways really quickly, and that is really what Survivors has a hard time dealing with without a burst shot or a really 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 strong curve or like a searing wave from hand or something.
Yeah, and that's Survivors is running that. I have Searing Wave in the deck. I think I am running Tornado Flames, which after a lot of strenuous discussion, it did not take a lot to convince me that that's just not a good card anymore. Um,
Yeah, it's not
and
that
I
it's a bad card, it's just never the best card.
right, and you'd rather rely on the things that do more. Like, who cares if Burst Shot kills a Blastosaur if I'm getting beat down by Rush? Like, Blastosaur wasn't doing much anyways.
Yeah, especially in a 40 card format like this, you can't really afford to play cards that are just so meh so often. Like, there's a lot of mid cards out there. Tornado Flame's one of them, but in 40 cards, you really have to be picky with the removal suite you go with, especially in a deck that has to. Survivors dedicate so much of its slots to the survivors that it needs to play. So the removal you play, you have a limited number of slots that you can actually use for that purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
Spencer here,
there's a smash
fortunately,
one.
yeah, hits the sniper early and opts not to swing with it because he's banking on the the fast attacker here, which is great for me because it puts me in a sense ahead, at least of the curve from last game. I was
Yeah, that's
losing on this.
interesting too, because I don't know, maybe he
It's
could just
terrible.
play 2 drops for a while and waited on the pyro. Because I see another Gauntlet in his hand right now.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
would you
hitting
do
Terry
as a rush player?
as a rush play. I mean, I
Like, I feel like
think
developing the Gauntlet early is always better than playing pyro. Pyro is sort of
I
like when you have nothing else to stick.
right. I think if you're off your turn, so if in this sense, like he hadn't broken a shield yet, so the
Mm.
difference between two shields and three shields is not incredibly relevant, unless you're trying to two turn him. But I had Smash One, which could crack back on something, and he
Yeah,
had
I
Pig
mean,
and
yeah, seeing that he had the
so
twos, I would have played it pretty differently from his perspective. I would have jammed Sniper, then Ganta, and then just attacked on turn 2 and kept playing 2 drops for a couple more turns. Because you want the two
yeah,
drops to be played as early as possible.
also very fair. Yep.
But hey, here we are now, and he's still turning stuff sideways. Hard to imagine he's that far behind.
Yeah,
But yeah, leave a
it's
comment. How would you play these games? Come on, tell us. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell us what we're doing right.
yeah, please,
I've
and
noticed some absolutely rancid misplays that I've made after the fact.
that's how it goes, man. Soul Swap here is tough, because I can either save a shield or I can put Smash Horn into mana and bring out Bronze Arm Tribe. Um, which feels like it could be relevant here.
What does that do
Um,
for you?
you
Do you
know,
play
my
Apocalypse?
I don't
Wait, actually, that's
yes, I think I do have an APOC in hand,
but you still
or
wouldn't
don't have
be
an
at
I have an APOC in deck. Um,
you still wouldn't be going to
and
7 anyway.
yeah, so but at least that way I could still bounce with the Rickaboo. This way I still get the favorable trade. And
Ooh,
look, Tornado Flame did something.
that is literally best case scenario for Tornado Flame.
Yeah. So he opts not to swing there, which I think is maybe a mistake,
Oh yeah,
but
totally.
uh,
In my opinion,
yeah, yeah,
I think in
yeah.
this
So
matchup, knowing that you are now at the level at which you can play your removal, if you can turn a thing sideways, you do so. That
yeah,
is how I would play that.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's where we're having that conversation now. Is that he just needs to start breaking a shield at a time instead of waiting. So being off a turn there, I think, is what's going to allow my deck to actually start to do some cool stuff. So able to clear his board with a shield on board, which is great, because it essentially minus a fast attacker, well, speed attackers in this game, this turn.
We only played Kaijudo for 2 years. It's really crazy that that has stuck with you so long.
It's fast attackers and shield blasts, man. I can't stop.
There are
And
worse ways to say the
oh,
thing.
what's the other thing? Storm Spark Blast. That
Oh my
one's that
god.
one's got better.
But
They
you've played
fully
Duel
all.
Masters since we were like in middle school.
I get it. Trust me, I'm there. Every time I say it, my brain takes a lap. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so alright, so back to survivors. Soul swapping in the factory shop. I am trying to set myself up to win the game next turn. If he doesn't top the fast attacker this turn, I'm making sure I did my mana correctly here because I think there's a way to do it correctly. Yeah, so
That wasn't that.
here we go. Here's the take backsy piece because like realizing that I can get a smash horn out with this factory shell is the correct way to do this. So
Yeah.
hitting factory shell
Oh,
or
that. Yeah,
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 I
yeah, yeah.
go for skull sweeper, which I guess didn't matter. I could have done that either way.
The important thing is that you can play Blazosaur and the Qtronic on top of it next turn.
Right. So keeping myself at 4 mana, maxing out, because I guess I couldn't play two Blastosaur there, or at least I'd seen something that told me I think I've got two in hand already, actually, which is why this is the case.
Ooh,
So I
raking.
have to break one shield here, I think.
Well, Qtronic would quad break, right? Or am I
Right.
understanding the card less?
I didn't have to break a shield there. Yeah, don't know why I did that.
You
I could
just
have
like
just
living
lost
on the
Missouri.
edge.
Yeah, a lot of misplays in this. That's
I mean,
it's just
I
happened.
don't that is relevant sometimes, but I
I
do
could have just hit
think
Torcon. That'd be the game. So
yeah, Torcon and just another shot at a speed attacker, which he would have the mana to play as well. There's a Torcon. Wow, you got pretty lucky to not hit that Torcon.
yeah, sure did.
I will
Yeah,
say, I
so
mean,
that was
while that was a light mistake, I will go on record and say I think Spencer probably had that game in the bag if he played his twos before the pyro. I think getting that extra tech in with Sniper and getting Ganta online, like two of them early, or at least Ganta and Quixotic, I think that would be too much pressure at a time before your deck can actually play its wide removal. Um,
yeah, for sure. Because even if he had swung into that first shield pit after dropping the second Ganta, yeah, Terra Pit would have killed a Ganta. Uh, but he still had the fast attacker in his hand at that point. So it's just it's interesting, I think, to say the least. So
yeah. And if you're wondering why
um,
we didn't correct those lines early, it's because we recorded this at like pretty late at night, and I don't even know if I was in the room. I might have been in the bathroom. Who knows? But hey, we got Hardy capping, and I believe that Spencer's about to turn it sideways.
I'm very yeah. I'm just gonna call Spencer on this recording if he didn't. So. All right. See the Ganta versus Ganta here. I'm gonna be able to bounce, which is lovely.
Yeah, we actually talked about whether Ganta was even good in Survivors, and the whole logic for you playing it, I think, was because it contests other Gantas, really, and like beats down,
Yeah,
any other thing your aggressive opponents might attack with.
exactly. It's my anti quote unquote aggro tempo card. Because exactly for those reasons, it's just bigger than most of the things the opponent's going to play on their turn, minus opposing Gantas, which in this case is fine because I want to be able to kill it. So
Yeah, but
hitting
this is still
hitting
a lot of pressure.
progression, yeah, ideal, but double Ganta into another one drop is tough.
Yeah, I
So
think I can
no,
barely make out Spencer's hand, and it looks like a Rikaboo the Dismantler, so he's got the speed attacker to fall back on, and you're just already back against the wall here.
yeah, so not in a good way. No terror pits and shields that time. Bronze Arm Tribe looking real silly out there on his own.
Yeah, Searing
And
Wave would immediately lose you the game. Tornado Flame is okay, but
yeah, I'm just banking on a trigger, living on a prayer.
I see that Spencer has the
Um,
Rikaboo. He also has a 2 and a 1. So, yeah, he's just going to go for it.
yeah,
I think
there's
it's
some
fine.
argument that playing the two and the one if I did have the blast, but yeah, there was nothing that could be done. That was and that's basically what you want to see as a rush player, right? The
Yeah.
games go less than 4 turns, and you're winning on that fourth turn. So that is
Yeah.
the game, guys. Fire Nature Rush proceeds, albeit Survivor's got a got a game there, maybe by no fault of its own, but it Rush takes it a 2-1.
Yeah,
So
sometimes you stumble into a win. And I could see the logic of the 2 and the 1 there too, just knowing that we know each other's lists. Like, if he had broken the last and played the 2 and the 1, there's literally no out for you at that point. There's no chance of you killing him. There's no chance of you killing the board. So I could see it either way. I think maybe he
well,
lived life on the
yeah,
edge a
no,
little bit, but
absolutely, yeah, no, for sure. There's actually just no out for me because there's no way I
yeah,
can discard his hand and deal with multiple. Like I can't Searing Wave and
yeah,
break and get his hand at the same time. So if he puts me at 0 shields, I don't have blockers.
yep. No
That's the
blockers.
game.
Some decks don't have
So,
blockers, okay? He's not a madman here. He just is playing a survivor deck against Fire Nature Rush. That's the way the bracket seeded.
but when the blocker is the only out, that is what
Yeah.
it is. So
Hey,
yeah,
here's
shout
the
outs to
updated
Fire
bracket.
Nature off to face Mana Burn in Fortress Mana Burn in top 8.
Yeah,
So
that's the
our
updated
top 8
bracket.
as it
I'm
stands. Yeah,
I'm
check it out,
hoping
guys. We
you
made it to top 6. Thanks for sticking around. For those of you who are still here and still enjoying this content, thank you so much for the comments throughout. And let it be said that we're not done yet.
yeah, we got 8 more matches in this bracket because we're doing the entire top 8 as well as the match for 3rd and 4th. And the first one you're going to see in the round of 8 is Pegasus versus Foul. coming up soon.
Yeah, yeah. Back to Pegasus. Yeah, future. No spoilers at all, but that one's looking to be a pretty good match, and I'm excited to get in the booth with Christian here in the next couple of days and narrate that and talk about that matchup. It's looking fun. It's
Yeah.
looking real fun. Whole top eight looks great, and this tournament's been a blast so far. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we are. And yeah, yeah, that's it. So top eight schedule. Just to put it out there for those of you who are still around, and I think we only looked at my wrist that doesn't have the watch on it. Um,
Good lord.
the top eight schedule. I think we're going to go ahead and upload the first top eight match this Friday coming up, and then we're going to stick to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule for the remaining matches until we get to top four and finals, and we'll come up with kind of a way to upload those so that they're a little bit more what do you call them premiered, so that we
We're
can
not
give them
using
justice.
we're not using YouTube Premiere. Don't worry.
We're not using
Yeah,
no
no.
live video. Sorry if that's a thing.
Well, that's like
Um,
a. I'll explain it later. It's not worth it. But just stay tuned. Check your sub box. Hey, subscribe, hit the bell. Get those notifications. You'll be notified as long as you hit the
yeah,
bell. If you don't, then you won't. But
but plenty of
yeah,
content coming your way, guys, and we're gonna get ready for some top eight. So stay tuned. Leave a like, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think so far, and how you guys enjoyed the top 16, and what your predictions are for top eight, and
yeah. Are you
who
surprised
you
at these
think are.
decks? We were that night.
Sure were.
So
Yeah, no, that was a tough night, man. I tell you
yeah,
what. Tell you
I'm
what.
personally pretty stoked with the decks in the top eight. I already have some insider knowledge, but you've got some pretty sick matchups coming your way. I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Peace.